Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game product review. Today's product we're covering is Upzone, the pop-up terrain system by Everything Epic. These guys are board game designers at heart, making many games, which I'll be covering the next one in the next video here. But Upzone is a pop-up terrain system. Well, what is that exactly? It's basically dungeon tiles. You're going to be getting a large set of dungeon tiles that start folded and can be popped up to create terrain. These create 1x1 grid systems of 6x6s and 3x7s and a host of unique different types of squared terrain systems. Sometimes there can be large squares or smaller ones, or hallways, doors. Different areas are going to be inhabiting different things like stairs or a prison system, and you can customize it however you please, basically making your own dungeon for your RPG, or any game like Monster Hunter International by Everything Epic. So even some of their games will play with the Upzone terrain system, or maybe your favorite D&D type system, where you can just simply have a combat zone or a dungeon zone that you want to create yourself. It is a kind of how do you do-it-yourself terrain system that you can set up on the go, and of course put up, put away, and put out in 5 minutes. A wonderfully great little customization system that has also additional types and styles, which maybe I'll cover in the future. Like there's an ancient like pyramid/temple one, and then there's also I guess one's called a cathedral zone. Looks kind of like a worn down city. But the one I have here is a dungeon system. I'll go ahead and set up a small dungeon and then we will cover it. I mean, there's no real setup. The setup is the game portion. The setup portion is the portion of the product anyway. So I'll set something up and we'll talk about Upzone. So here we have a customized layout that I just kind of set up on the table, which you can do as well. You can kind of design whatever you'd like. And as you can see, this is a large amount of space on the tabletop, but there are still plenty of extra areas left. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional buildings over here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional straightaway paths. And then we also have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more buildings over here. So quite a lot of stuff to build your own dungeon. There's also going to be a boatload of pull tabs that you can basically just attach to your little dungeons to secure them so they don't like flop around. They kind of secure it a little better when it comes to staying on the table. And as you can see, it's a 1x1 grid system. No matter how you lay it out, each space is going to be connected by a 1x1 grid, which is, for the most part, like most RPGs. I went ahead and put some dungeon Monster Hunter International miniatures on this little grid here to show you kind of the scale of an average miniature fitting onto this game board. There are a variety of different pieces or like different locations that are going to have unique things that are inside them. I'll go ahead and pull this guy off right here to show you. Like this one here has kind of a pop-up coffin, kind of like a Dracula coffin here. There's a prison one over here, and there's also stairs. There's a variety of ones that you can kind of utilize for your campaigns. You can also set it up to add unique like miniatures that involve, I don't know, cabinets and tables and chairs, pretty much anything that you'd like to make on a 1x1 grid system that you have for other campaigns, you can kind of associate with this one here. And like I said, there are other options that you can either connect to, such as like temples / the ziggurats with a dungeon or a separate outside space leading to a dungeon. You kind of have the freedom to roam and do what you'd like to do. And basically having kind of cool 3D system or battlefield that you can utilize, whether it be for actual combat or for storytelling purposes and utilizing it as a time method. And that is pretty much how this works. Now, to show scale for another miniatures game that I have, Arena, this is a large miniature, and once again, it will fit on the grid here. This is going to fit a 5x5 square grid, but it works the same. And most games are going to work with their miniatures for 1x1 grid space. There are a few that don't, like Warhammer Epic and stuff, but for the most part, your miniatures will find a section on here, and you can utilize them for your game. So what do I think about Dungeon Zone, the pop-up terrain system? This is a cool system. If you are looking to kind of craft your own like dungeon crawl, utilize it in an RPG, fulfill it with another game system. There are plenty of RPGs out there that will allow you to use a system like this in order to play with it. I mean, even something like Descent is going to let you use these tiles here. But pretty much any TTRPG, you can use this element of a dungeon. Or if you don't want to use this specific system, there are a few other ones as well. And there are some games designed by Epic that you can just simply use this system as opposed to their basic game board, which presents with a nice, cool little pop-up quality. These are basically like your old children's books, the little pop-up books that you open up and there's like a castle showing. The same is said for this game as well. It's a pop-up system for dungeons. Okay, quality, I mean, you get it, right? It's a pop-up book associated to create kind of an aesthetic for a dungeon crawl or a miniatures game for modern tabletop games. So, brass tacks, right? The quality of this. This is pretty solid quality. Now, I wouldn't say, you have to be careful with this because as you unfold them and stuff, you'll have to notice that there are little creases and stuff like that in the edge and they don't line up perfectly as you assemble it onto the game board, and you have to kind of just make sure that they fit really nicely and they sit on the table okay. Because at the end of the day, when you finish setting it up and tearing it down, you're going to have to fold it back down to fit into the storage box because there is a lot of content that comes with this system. And yeah, it's not too bad, but as you can see, if you just kind of throw it down, it's not going to work. You have to arrange it so that it feels like it's ready to see a tabletop space. And obviously it might take a little more time, but if you're not careful, you bend it too hard or you bend it in the wrong direction to try and fold it, you're going to end up breaking the tile. So be aware of that when you utilize this. Obviously the pull tabs are going to be very essential to putting together this thing because it might not want to just sit up as soon as you unfold. You know, unfolding it and placing it down is not like the simplest thing in the world. You have to make sure that you kind of feel the ridges and attach it down, holding with the pull tabs, etc., etc. Another thing to note too is some of the dungeon tiles have a little door, but there's no actual open space, so you can't push their miniatures through. You'll have to simply, in order to get into this tomb, there's a door over here, you'd have to actually go through the door system. And not the easiest thing to see, but I'm sure with your design elementation, you can kind of either maybe take a little white marker and draw a line of the door so you can see the space where it goes to, but some of these are completely opened up. I mean, I guess you can even cut through it if you wanted. The door is a 1x1 square. But overall, quality is nice. The art design is great. I kind of wish on the tiles, since they do have a front and back, I wish that they had like unique little features on one side and a blank on the other side. That would have been pretty cool. Having this one littered with stones and debris and crags and all that kind of stuff and cracks would be cool. And on the other side, a basic grid. And the same thing could be said for these as well. Maybe it's just like a floor mat. Or stuff they put on the ground, not an actual table on the art, but like stuff that represents the style of the tiles on the dungeon would have been cool. But it's just simple back and forward art, which is still nice. I do appreciate this, the fact that it is both double-sided, but I would have liked something extra there. It's a cool system. It's a cool grid system. It is simple to take out and put away as long as you are careful with it. This is not a toy. This is a system used for a modern TTRPG or miniatures game. So it's not something I'd probably tell you to go and send your kids. They're going to break this real quick. Be careful with how you utilize it, but overall a fun grid system. I like the fact that they have multiple different types of systems that you can add to it. I like the fact that you can, I've already got a few games I was just thinking of. You can make a Hero Quest out of this. You can actually have Hero Quest and play it utilizing this system here or any of their other terrain pop-up systems. I love the pop-up aspect. It's great nostalgia, and the stylization of things like the prison and whatnot is great. I was even able to take the whole thing at one point when I built it on the ground when I first got it and put it onto the table. I wouldn't recommend it though. It's likely the pieces are going to fall off. Wherever you place it is where you're going to take it apart as well. So overall, Dungeon Zone's pop-up tile terrain system is really solid. It's specific as to what you're going to use it for, so if you don't have a real use for it, you're not into TTRPGs or don't have specific modern games that would be interested in utilizing this, you'd have to come up with something that you'd want to use a singular inch square based system for. But if you're looking for something like this is a solid option. It's a lot of fun and it works with a lot of things. Thank you guys for watching another Unfiltered Gamer product review for the game Dungeon Zone, the pop-up terrain system. This is is for the dungeon specifically, and there are other options as well. If you like this video or like this product, there is a link down below in the description where you can go ahead and pick this thing up. And if you think my content is worthwhile and you want to see more products and or games, modern games specifically, Kickstarter products, that kind of thing, go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe. I don't want to tell you to do that, but it definitely does help, and that's why we keep annoying you about asking you to do it, because usually about 75% of people don't bother to do it. It's simple for you and makes us really, really happy. So if you could consider doing so, we appreciate it. Anyway, if not, no problem. We have a live stream every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. PST, where you can watch us play games, maybe even utilizing this Dungeon Zone terrain system here when we played the game Monster Hunter International. So you can go and tune in on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and maybe we'll even do Kick. It's a new live streaming multi-stream where we can do that, so maybe we'll try that as well. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I look forward to dropping in the Dungeon Zone with you next time.